Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's day 2 of the MSI Beatit African qualifiers, and we've got round 3 Glaciem Esports Chilling Touch versus Ventus Pro. I'm your host, Saint D from EAE Gaming, and hopefully we have an explosive match upon us. As today is the round 3 of the group stages, we will essentially have only one match lined up for the evening. And right off the bat, the bans are underway. We're getting a Doom ban coming out from Glaciem Esports, and we get Ventus Bro banning out the Brewmaster. Pretty much standard fair bans. Doom is one of those heroes who essentially nullifies pretty much a lot of heroes. And the thing is, if ever you have a lineup that's either geared heavily towards team fight or geared heavily towards pushing, you don't want to go against Doom, because essentially Doom nullifies a specific hero, whether it be the skills, and usually that hero will try and get away the moment they're doomed, essentially meaning they're not even dealing right click damage. So Doom is always a top tier ban, pretty much a ban I can't disagree with. And going out when you look at the Brewmaster ban, pretty much standard fare, because in terms of team fight lineups, he's one of the heaviest controllers in terms of team fight lineups. And it's essentially one of the things you don't want to go up against. And once again, Lycan, you'll hardly ever see Lycan go through, especially going through for the die, because of how easy it is to access Roche when you have the Lycan coming out from the die. And then the Faceless Void, one of those versatile heroes being banned out. You can place him in the off lane, you can place him in the safe lane, and in some odd cases you could place him in the mid lane. You don't want to deal with him in the early game, especially when he's put in the off lane, because there's the idea is get level 6, roam around the map, cause havoc, and then you don't want him on a farming position, because if he's on a farming position, he's gonna build damage, and he has control on top of damage. It essentially means it's gonna be a nightmare to deal with. And we've got essentially a TI. We've essentially got TI drafting coming up. We've got Shadow Shaman being picked up by Glaciem Esports on top of a Death Prophet. So the push is real, ladies and gentlemen. The push is real. Razor and Tidehunter being picked up from Ventus Pro. That to me signals team fight. But the nice thing about what Ventus Pro have is that when you pick up a Razor, when you do pick up the Razor, it essentially means you can fight, because obviously he's gonna be sapping damage coming out from one of your damage dealers on the opposing team, and then you will have to deal with the push if he goes for the Aghanims build. But on the flip side, Glaciem Esports may have a strong push, but Death Prophet and Shadow Shaman should never ever be underestimated in fighting scenarios, because there's control coming up from the Shadow Shaman. You got Hex, you got Shackles, and then on the Death Prophet side, you've got one of the key controlling spells in her silence. Her silence is amazing, and her exorcism is one of the spells you don't want to fight in. And then coming out from Ventus Pro, hot off the picks, we've got a Weaver ban. Now, having seen a few Ventus Pro games, they're quite fond of banning out Weaver, and it appears Weaver's one of those heroes who doesn't care if you've got heroes like Razor and Tidehunter running interference, going pretty much creating a front line where you have to go through them if you want to get to the rest of the heroes like the supports or whatnot. So Weaver ban, it's an understandable one, and they ban out the Centaur Warrunner. Banning out the Centaur Warrunner is essentially telling Glaciem Esports, we don't want counter initiation. We want to always get the jump on you, and Centaur Warrunner is very good in terms of counter initiation. He's good in terms of disengage, and he's obviously got great initiation. So you don't want to deal with the Stampede once you've popped your Ravage. You don't want to deal once you've started a fight. You don't want to deal with Centaur Warrunner. And Glaciem Esports banning out the Ancient Apparition. Ancient Apparition is a very strong support, especially in team fighting lineups. So I definitely agree with that ban. They're banning out the Viper. Okay, the Viper ban, it doesn't signal that they are afraid of the Viper going into the mid lane, because Death Prophet doesn't suffer that much as other heroes would up against the Viper. But if they're sending with the silencer pickup, now it may be much clearer why they banned out the Viper. Because if they're going for the silencer going into the mid lane, or even if it's a support silencer, Viper is one of those heroes. But no, actually wait. Silencer is just like Scarith in the fact that they can actually go up against the Viper. So it should be interesting to see why they banned out the Viper, because I'm pretty sure there must be a plan if they're banning out the Viper. Ventus Pro picking up the Beastmaster. Now that's a hero who's fallen from grace, simply because, fair enough, he's a good hero in the sense that once he gets his level 6, he's got a very strong controlling spell in the primal roar. But for me, in my opinion, the biggest problem coming out from a Beastmaster is that in the early stages of the game, before he gets his level 6, before he gets his necro books, or depending on before he gets his blink, before he gets his necro books, the problem with Beastmaster is that usually, with the way the current patch has evolved the game, teams focus on early aggression, and the Shadow Shaman, Silencer, those are heroes that can work very well into early aggression. So having to go up against those heroes on a Beastmaster won't be providing that much in the early game in terms of providing control on the other lanes. So there might be a plan. Once again, Beastmaster works well in team fights. The Bane pickup. Bane is another one of those supports who's kind of fallen a little to the wayside. Not as much as other heroes, I'd say, but the bigger problem with the Bane is that he's very single target oriented. Yes, he gives you the Nightmare. Yes, he gives you the Fiend's Grip, and the Fiend's Grip obviously goes through BKB. But in terms of team fights, chaotic team fights, a Bane is one of those supports who require more precision than any of the other supports. Let's say than Ancient Apparition, who's obviously being banned out. Let's even say, yeah, there's a few other supports, even the Lich, even the Skywrath Mage, who has yet to be banned out, which is very surprising. In any event, Glaciem Esports picking up the Clockwork. Clockwork is gonna be a nightmare to deal with. If the moment he gets online, so if, from what I'm seeing right now, Death Prophet will probably be going mid unless they send the Silencer mid. Death Prophet will probably be going mid. Clockwork will be going on the off lane. Now Clockwork is one of, I like the Clockwork pick specifically because if you've got the Silencer, you've got the Death Prophet, you've got the Shadow Shaman. Those heroes, okay, not the Silencer necessarily, the Death Prophet and the Shadow Shaman, their push gets online very quickly. Clockwork, in terms of his ganking potential, in terms of his disruption potential, he gets online very quickly. Once he gets his 6, he's going to cause havoc around the map, and I assume that's why Glaciem Esports is picking the hero. And then you look over on Ventus Pro picking out the Sniper. That is very risky. I've seen Sniper win games, but the bigger problem with Sniper is that regardless of when and where he's in the game, he's always vulnerable to being ganked. He's never really a durable hero. I mean, yes, he's got 2 heroes running interference. You've got the Titan to the Razor and possibly the Beastmaster even. Wraith King being picked up from Glaciem Esports, which is a very potent hero. I would now assume that they might be picking him up as a support, which essentially means the Silencer is definitely a core. And with that essentially means Ventus Pro needs to watch out completely because as strong a team fight as they have, Glaciem Esports has a team fight that's quite strong as well, on top of the fact that they have early game pushing potential. In any event, before any action gets underway, I'll introduce the lineups. Over on Glaciem Esports, Chilling Touch on the Dire, we've got Gecko playing up the Silencer. We've got Bang playing up the support Wraith King. We have Right Click Pony We've got right click pony playing up the shadow shaman. Over on the mid lane we've got white Wookie playing up the death prophet, and over on the off lane we've got Butrox playing up the clockwork, and then over on Ventus Pro on the Radiant we've got Flaming Sheep playing up the Tidehunter. Wait a second, I didn't even take note of this. This is a support Tidehunter. This should be interesting. That's actually very risky. It may come to bite them in the ass, but I'll expound more on that as the game carries on. We've got Zeke over on the Bane. We've got Night Wraith playing up the safe lane, what appears to be a safe lane Razor. Over on the mid lane we've got Chronos playing up the Sniper, and over on the off lane we've got Grime playing up the Beastmaster. Now, you don't see Tidehunter being picked up that often as a support because, yes, Tidehunter is actually quite a greedy support, especially when you've picked him up with the Bane, who is a level greedy support to an extent. The bigger problem with placing the Tidehunter on support is that you would usually he's gonna suffer in terms of his level progression if you guys aren't aggressive going into the early game, and then the bigger thing is that he might suffer in terms of how early or late he may get his blink dagger. And then an interesting choice coming out from Glaciem Esports, deciding to go for the offensive tri lane, putting the silencer, the shadow shaman. I've got a curse of the silent. There goes a nightmare. There goes a plasma field, but it's not going to do anything as a ray fire blast catches Flaming Sheep. A few right clicks going off. Could it be first blood? If they get one last right click, it could have been first blood going the way of Gecko. But nonetheless, I actually like what they're doing here. By committing into, I like what Glaciem's doing. By committing their tri lane into an offensive tri lane, it essentially means Flaming Sheep, because you know Tidehunters are good at jungling now to an extent, but it means Flaming Sheep's pulling shenanigans are gonna be ill advised, because the moment he leaves that lane, either Night Wraith or Zeke are on the hit list coming out for Glaciem Esports. So they need to be careful about how it goes out. Looks like we've got the static link going out onto Gecko. There goes a Ray Fire Blast catching Night Wraith, but it's just a pissing contest right now. That's essentially what it is. It's boiling down to a pissing contest. In any event, looking at the CS board, we've got Ventus Pro actually leading the charge. The Razor sitting at 10 for 5. 10 for 4, and over on the off lane we've got Grime sitting at 10. We've got Grime sitting at 11 for 5, and then Sniper, Chronos on the Sniper is sitting at essentially 11 for 2. Now, looking at that lineup, you would say it's great that they're actually getting. You would say that it's great that they're getting their last hits, but the bigger thing is going to be the levels coming out from Glaciem Esports, and the moment kills start coming out from this aggressive tri lane, then levels are going to be a scary thing on Glaciem Esports lineup. But it looks like we've got right click pony trying to commit to a kill. If he gets the shackles, Cronus is gonna lose his life, but he doesn't have the range. And now he's committed to a roaming movement that actually didn't get them anything. Looks like Zeke wants to go in on aggressively on Gecko. Could we see a nightmare? Just a single right click going the way of Bang over on the Wraith King. We've got a Curse of the Silent and a Last Word going out onto Zeke. There goes a Nightmare and a Static Link going out onto Night Wraith. Bang destroys the Nightmare. We've got a Wraith Fire Blast catching Night Wraith as well. But once again, it's a pissing contest. Now, as strong as Glaciem Esports offensive tri lane is, they need to make sure that they actually secure some kills, because whenever you decide to commit to an offensive tri lane, you have to get kills, because the core the upside on of an aggressive tri lane is that you're putting pressure on the opposing either solo laner or the opposing safe lane tri lane. But the big thing is you don't have access to your jungle. It essentially means you can't pull. Essentially means your supports are a little bit under leveled and a bit under farmed. Now that's the downside of an offensive tri lane. The upside is they've got a strong offensive tri lane. They've got disables galore. They've got the Rayfire Blast. They haven't got a level in Shackles yet, but they have. I mean, in Hex yet, but they do have a level in. Ooh, Sniper almost lost his life actually down in the mid lane. They have a level in the Shackles and the Aethershock. So there is a decent amount of damage and disable. Looks like we may have. Or looks like they scout out the fact that there's a double pull going out, and they actually commit a sentry to blocking one of these camps. Looks like we've got a quiet game. We've got ourselves a very quiet game. I think if Glaciem Esports is not gonna be aggressive on the aggressive tri lane, I think they should have. It would have been more prudent to rather form it would have been a little bit more prudent if they had committed themselves to rather a defensive tri lane, because now the problem is they're kind of losing out on levels. But on the flip side, Flaming Sheep is also quite under leveled for a Tidehunter, and that's going to be a problem. So there's a few things, and I just missed First Blood over on Grime. Grime actually committed the Primal Roar, going the way of securing the kill on the Clockwork. And that's looking good for Grime, because the biggest thing about, looks like we've got a gush going on to Gecko. There goes the Rayfire Blast, there goes the Last Word and the Shackles, and that's a kill going the way of the Shadow Shaman. We've got a static link going out onto Gecko. Gecko's being dealt with the plasma. Oh, the plasma doesn't actually get him. Right click may lose his life, right click falls to the Bane. Night Wraith may just lose his life, but unfortunately Bang didn't have mana for his Rayfire Blast, and Night Wraith actually gets salved up. So that's 2 kills going the way of Ventus Pro, 1 on the top lane, 1 on the bottom lane, and 1 kill going the way of Glaciem Esports. Now that exchange obviously favors Ventus Pro, simply because okay, they how many did they lose? They actually lost the Clockwork. They lost the Clockwork and they lost the Shaman, as opposed to just getting a kill over on the Bane. Looks like we have a possible aggressive movement, but they need to be more proactive in terms of this aggressive tri lane, because this aggressive tri lane is not going to get them anywhere if they're not aggressive. We've got a Last Word going out onto Night Wraith. There goes the Nightmare going out to Gecko. We've got a static link going out, but it's just to secure his escape. Looks like we've got Rocket Flare going out, and now that Butrox has his hookshot, he may be looking to go in aggressively. Flaming Sheep is very underleveled. He's still sitting at level 2, 8 minutes into the game. It goes back to what I mentioned earlier. Picking up a support Tidehunter may just work against you, especially when you've got Bane. Bane is not necessarily the easiest of supports to sustain without some level of farm. We've got an Assassinate going out onto White Wookiee, but he's still reasonably alive, and it looks like Glaciem Esports are content to take some of these camps, and they have been stacked, so it's a massive steal. That's a win going their way. The question is, now that they've committed essentially 4 heroes on the bot lane, we have ourselves the Enfeeble going the way of the Silencer. But now that they've committed 4 heroes, and looks like Butrox is going back, but that rotation got them nothing at all, and by getting them nothing, it essentially meant wasted time on Butrox's behalf.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Looks like the tower's gonna go down. Ooh, and it's in deny range. If Grime doesn't get it, it's a win going Butrox's way. If they get the deny, ooh, we've got the ball being procced, but it's a win going Glaciem Esports way, because now that they've secured a deny, it means less goal going their way. We've got an exorcism being procced by White Wookie. There goes the assassinate onto him, but he's still got a decent amount of HP going out. But I would say over on the in terms of efficiency, you look at Ventus Pro. Ventus Pro right now has essentially their 3. Looks like we've got a last word going on tonight, Wraith, but it's not going to get anything done. Oh, right click may just be in a world of trouble right now. But there's not enough. Oh, there goes the shackles onto Grime. There goes your battery assault. Oh, right click may still lose his life, and the cogs go out. Catching Grime, but he does lose his life, the Shadow Shaman. And Grime gets a double kill. He gets a double kill out of a scenario that actually didn't favor him. Well played coming out from Grime. And you have to admit that is a blow. That is a blow going the way of. And we got a Ray 5 blast going out into Kronos. Kronos loses his life in the mid lane, but it wasn't before he took out the Death Prophet. So they're taking essentially favorable exchanges, Ventus Pro, and the big problem is if you're taking negative exchanges on your behalf against a lineup that has a sniper who's sitting second in terms of overall top levels, and he's sitting second in terms of the net worth chart, then you've got a problem because he deals so much damage. It looks like Gecko's in a world of trouble right now. There we've got the Nightmare catching him. There goes the Static Link as well. The moment he comes out, he's probably dead. There goes the Plasma Field and the Eye of the Storm taking him down. Butrox has to get away. He may have procced his battery assault, but it's not enough to do anything significant. And now we've got 4 going out. Oh, we've got the Fiend's group catching out Right Click Pony over on the Shadow Shaman, and he loses his life to the Razor. And this tower is not long for this life. And right now you look at the territory. The territory they've got, we're sitting at 3 towers, 3 tier 1s going their way without reprisal, because they still have all their tier 1s up. And this is the lineup that has the Shadow Shaman. That's the lineup that has the Shadow Shaman and the Death Prophet. That's not looking good for it's really not looking good on their behalf. If they honestly keep losing towers like this, they're not going to get to a point where their push is strong, because you have to remember, when you have a Death Prophet and a Shadow Shaman without any other mid to late game pushes, it essentially means you have to push very early. We're 12 minutes in and they're the ones losing the towers. So I would say they need more successful rotations. I mean, they've got a clockwork. They need to make use of the fact that they have a clockwork. I'm not entirely sure if I've actually caught a hook shot going out, but Butrox needs to be a little bit more proactive on his clockwork. If he can secure some ganks. I mean, they still have a very decent lineup. They've got the hook shot, they've got the cogs, the battery assault, on top of the fact that they have the Wraith King. Ooh, we've got the global silence going out. Gecko's gonna lose his life to the sniper. And that's a dead snipe. That's a very dead silencer. And silencer's got a problem now, because if you look at the levels, he's quite under. He's now falling the wayside in terms of his levels, because he is essentially what is supposed to be a core. He's supposed to be their carry. And he's under leveled, he's under farmed. You look at his overall net worth. He's sitting dead in the middle, and that's not where a silencer needs to be, because a silencer doesn't play very well. He doesn't play catch up Dota that much. Ooh, we've got a smoke movement coming out from Ventus. Oh, there goes Grime. They pop the smoke. We've got a Fiend's Grip going out onto Butrox. There goes the Static Link. It's probably going to be a dead Butrox. We've got this. We've got the Ray 5 Blast catching a few. There goes the Ether Shock catching Zeke. We've got a Nightmare going out onto Right Leg. Right Leg's going to lose his life. They almost committed the assassinate, but there was no need for that. We've got the Reincarnation proccing onto Bang. There goes the Ravage and the Plasma Field going out. And that's 3 kills going the way of Ventus Pro. Oh, we've got the Roar going out onto Gecko, and it's a 4-for-0 exchange going the way of Ventus Pro. And now we're getting to the point where the lead may just be very problematic. I mean, the bigger problem coming out from Glaciem Esports is the bigger problem coming out from their lineup is that it doesn't play very well from behind. I mean, they still have potent support duo in the Wraith King, in the Shadow Shaman. But you look at Shadow Shaman with almost 15 minutes, and he's not close to getting his level 6. He's just broached level 5. So that's a big problem. That needs to change. If they want to get back into the game, they need to get him his level 6. You look over at the Wraith King. Wraith King is decently level considering he's a support. But another big problem, you look over at the Silencer. The Silencer doesn't have any farm. He doesn't have any farm. And now that Ventus Pro has taken so much territory, they've essentially formed the kind of death ball that you can't really go into, because the moment you've got Eye of the Storm proccing from them, the moment the Ravage is up, you're gonna have Flaming Sheep and Night Wraith sitting in the front lines, and you can't get away to kill Kronos on the sniper because he's still squishy. But now Flaming Sheep and Night Wraith are running interference. We've got Curse of the Silent going out, but it's not going to do anything. There goes the hook shot. There goes the Cogs. Cogs catching 3. We've got a Plasma Veil going out. There goes some damage, taking down 2. Oh, we've got the Exorcism proccing, but it literally means nothing at the moment. Ninth Wraith may lose his life to the Exorcism. There goes yourself, the Meg Charge going. Bang may just lose his life. Bang falls down, and now it's a 4-for-0 exchange. We've got the Fiend's Grip and the Plasma Field, and it's a double kill going the way of Ninth Wraith. That's a 4-5-man wipe. We're sitting at a 17-for-2 kill advantage going the way of Ventus Pro. They've almost got all the tier 2s down. It's looking devastating right now for GES. Can they get back in the game? Can they? Because now you look at the item progression coming out from the team. We've already got the Blink Dagger on the Beastmaster. We've already got the Blink Dagger coming out on the Tide Hunter. This is the support Tide Hunter, by the way, and it's now paying dividends because they've actually got decent levels on him. They've got decent farm on him. And you look at the Razor. The Razor he actually even went for a little bit of an ortho. He didn't go for the usual Ags build or the Sanjin Yash build you see in viewer games. I'd say he went for the mech build, which is pretty standard fare, and he went for a blade mail. That's how much of a lead they've actually accrued, to the point where he felt comfortable enough to go for the blade mail. And that means you can't initiate on them, because now GES can't take, Glaciem Esports can't take any fights comfortably. They need to either isolate heroes in terms of when they split up, in terms of they need to isolate heroes in pick off fashion, because they can't take 5-on-5 engagements. And Shadow Shaman, 17 minutes in, he still doesn't have his level 6. The moment they get that level 6 up, I mean, I think that's very key. They need to get that level 6 up. I mean, right now it's an insurmountable lead. I mean, 15k gold going the way of Ventus Pro. You look at the XP graph. The XP graph is telling another daunting tale. It's sitting at 12k, almost approaching the 14k mark, and when we're sub 20 minutes in, and they essentially lost all the tier 1s tier 2s once this tier 2 goes underway, and this team may just focus on getting Roche now. But Glaciem Esports, if they want to get back into the game, they need to get that level 6, and now they just got the level 6. Now they just got their level 6, and now the Serpent Wards are there. And Serpent Wards coupled with, looks like White Wookie may just die. He procced the Exorcism, he takes down the tower, but he may just lose his life. They may commit the Ravage, they commit the Roar. White Wookie's gonna lose his life. Those ghosts coming back. just making him survive so much longer. But he's definitely going to lose his life as a few right clicks are committed, and the Beastmaster secures that kill. But that's kind of what they need to do. Like, they're caught in a they caught in between a rock and a hard place because they can't take team fights. So the only thing they can really do is try and split push. I mean, they have a Death Prophet and a Shaman. They can try and split push, and they can try and maybe secure some ganks. I mean, they still have the Clockwork. Clockwork is still pretty strong in terms of what he offers. But that's one avenue. We've got a hookshot going out the way of Night Wraith, and the battery assault is being procced. Looks like Night Wraith may just lose his life. There goes the last word. Curse of the Silent procking. He procs the brick. He procs the he also procced the blade mail, but they got the kill. They got the kill. They secured the kill. And I mean, yes, fair enough, they lost the silencer in the fray, but I mean, it's as good as it can get for them. So that's the kind of initiative they need to take. Oh, Ventus teeping out just in the nick of time. That's the kind of exchanges they kind of need to take because right now the game is literally in this is Ventus Pro's game to lose, because all three of their cores are sitting top 3 of the net worth chart. You've got even the Beastmaster sitting at almost 10k. We've got Sniper just broached the 9k mark. Razor sitting at 8k as well. And then the next one coming out from Glaciem Esports would be White Wookie on the Death Prophet, who's just sitting at 6k. And then once again you get 2 more guys coming out from Ventus Pro. So the support's coming out from we've got a Nightmare going out onto right click. Right click may lose his life. There goes a Plasma Field going out. A Brain Sap and a last hit coming out from the Sniper. We've got the Roar going out. The Assassinate's going to catch Bang. Bang may just lose his Reincarnation, and the Reincarnation is proc. The slow goes in, but a few last hits are going out onto Bang. Even the Nightmare going the way of Bang. Right now it's an uphill battle for Glaciem Esports right now. We've got cogs being used, trying to dissuade them from pushing, but I don't think at this point they really care. We've got a Ray 5 Blast catching Grime. Grime may just lose his life as the Cryptstorm catches him, but he procs his bottle charges and he actually survives. And the backlines, Back actually got caught out by the Sniper. Oh, at this point, this game's pretty much done and dusted. There goes the Ravage, catching 3. The Plasma Field catching 3 as well. The Serpent Wars are committed, but 3 going the way of Ventus Pro. And now the cogs catching a few, but it's not going to secure much damage as the Enfeeble and the Static Link really secure some damage going the way of Night Wraith on the Razor. And they get the tier 3 tower for their troubles. So they get a few kills. And now all Ventus Pro has to do is go back, rinse and repeat, possibly get a Roche. I mean, the Roche is not even a factor that much. It's not even that important for Ventus Pro, because they've gotten to the point where the item progression, the level progression is just too much for Glaciem Esports to contend with. Looks like Zeke may just catch a Ray 5 Blast to their head, and he catches the Curse of the Silent. He'll lose his life to the side. There goes the Global Silence. Sniper teeping out just in the nick of time. Oh, Flaming Sheep baiting them out. He procs the Anchor Smash and he blinks out. We've got a Roar going the way of right click Pony, and there goes your Wild Axes. Oh, we've got the Ray 5 Blast catching Grime. Grime may be just in a world of trouble as the Shackles and the Cogs secure the fact that he shouldn't be alive. And we've got a Plasma Field coming out from Night Wraith. Night Wraith may just come back to clean out, but we've also got the Exorcism being procced, but Night Wraith is just so damn tanky. Oh goodness, I need to catch my breath. We've got the Eye of the Storm and the Death Prophet ulti being procced out. Are they? Wow, is White Wookie gonna try and kill Night Wraith? This should be an interesting battle. This should be interesting. White Wookie is actually ahead in terms of levels. Oh, there goes the Static Link going out onto White Wookie, but it's just to dissuade him from getting close. Flaming Sheep has the last word onto him, and it procs, and they get the kill. Silencer getting the kill, going the way of Glaciem Esports. So they're trying. They're certainly trying. They're certainly still alive. Did I just see that correctly? We've got Chronos actually buying a Divine Rapier, the first Divine Rapier I've cast in the MSI Beatit tournament. So I'm excited to see a Rapier go. I would have expected the rapier, the clutch rapier to probably come out from Glaciem Esports, because they've essentially lost this game because there's not much they can do. I mean, you look at Razor. Razor's not necessarily the strongest damage dealer, but he's such a tanky powerhouse in terms of, and I mean, he is dealing damage when you look at his Eye of the Storm. So now they get the Roche. The moment they get the Roche, they'll probably look into closing out the game, going the way of the mid lane. And we've got a smoke movement going out there. It looks like they know that the Roche is happening, but they're just too slow to the punch. And looks like we've got a silent catching all 5, but not capitalizing for him. And as this plasma field goes out, Bang may just lose his life. Bang falls the way of Night Wraith. Chronos securing a kill. There goes the Ward Crab going the way of Grime. But that's 4 kills going the way of Ventus Pro, and even a buyback coming out from Butrox buying back. Can they actually stop it? He commits the cogs, but they mean nothing. There goes the roar and the plasma field, and it's a dieback for the Clockwork. This game is essentially over. The mech gets procced. They're gonna take the tier 3 tower. They're gonna take racks. This game, there's no life left in this game. We've got the nightmare going out. Kronos is losing his life, but he doesn't care. He's dealing so much damage. There goes the assassinate. The assassinate deals the kill onto White Wookie. Oh, it's this game is done and dusted. Ladies and gents, this game is done and dusted. There goes the static link. So much damage being dealt the way of right click pony. We've got a Wraith 5 blast catching Night Wraith. Night Wraith may just lose his life as the last words catches him. But Gecko being caught by a nightmare. Last hit catches him. And just like that, it's a 5-man wipe. It's actually more than a 5-man wipe because buybacks were cost. And right now we've got a 25-minute game going the way of Ventus Pro as Glaciem Esports call GG. Goodness, that's essentially the death ball going the way of Ventus Pro. Goodness, that game being taken by Ventus Pro handedly. This game was down to Glaciem Esports committing to an offensive tri-lane, and the offensive tri-lane just did not get enough. That essentially meant their supports, the Wraith King, the Shadow Shaman, were under-leveled. I mean, at one point, Shadow Shaman, 15 minutes into the game, he was still sitting at level 5. And that's not where you want your Shadow Shaman to be, because you need the Shadow Shaman to be helping with your early push, coupled with the Death Prophet. Death Prophet and Shadow Shaman just never got off the early pushes going out, and Silencer just never got farmed. They picked Silencer as a core, and he was just never farmed. He was under-leveled. I mean, he died 9 times looking at the game. And coming out from Ventus Pro played the game exactly the way they needed to. The sniper got off all he needed in his mid lane. The supports coming out from Ventus Pro, once they got their key spells, they moved around, they formed the death ball, and it was just too much for Glaciem Esports to actually stop. In any event, hopefully Glaciem Esports will try and even out the series. Since this is a best of 2, they'll try and even out the series in game 2. I'm Saint D from EAE Gaming. Please join me as we take it to game 2, ladies and folks.